I'm still gonna do SSC first, but
You bought it, you may as well speedrun it.
I buy a lot of games, okay? Oh, this is being run by Null?
Oh, so it is.
I did not realize that. That would have said on the schedule? No. Wait. Yes. Okay, cool.
All right.
Null is a very well-known DQ speedrunner. He is incredibly good at Dragon Quest II in particular, which is actually on the same cartridge as this Dragon Quest I that he'll be doing here.
Does he do all the SFC games?
I'm actually not sure.
No, a lot of the top SFC runners do run all or most of them.
I know I've seen him on other games, but I don't know for sure which. And unfortunately, Hiko's website is not super useful. Let's see. DQ1, DQ2. He has a 242 in DQ3. He has a 502 in DQ5. He's got times in DQ11, both 3DS and Switch. So he doesn't do DQ6, but he does 1, 2, 3, and 5 at least.
Understandable.
Although a couple of them are old, like his DQ5 time is 2015, DQ3 is 2016. Always going on off of his Nico page. So yeah, I'm sure they'll be starting up soon. So this game is going to be, as we said, Dragon Quest I remake for the Super Famicom. It's very similar. If anyone's played the Game Boy Color remake of Dragon Quest I and 2, it's almost identical to that version. This is going to specifically be the metal harp hunting route, which differs from... There are kind of a few different ways you can run this game. The typical way that we see is Dragon Loop, which uses an exploit to fight a dragon over and over for big XP. There's a no Dragon Loop run where they disallow that. And then there's this one, which is harp hunting, which we'll see later. Used a slightly different name. So right off the bat, the first thing to talk about, I guess, is the naming system. So if you name your character with at least 4 characters, then your stat growth is going to be based off some formula that gets applied to your name. And typically, strength HP is the growth they're looking for. The most common name for DQ1 runs is Bopo. Null used a slightly different name. I'm not sure if that's related to the manips or if it's just something for fun or if... Not really sure. Abo.
Yeah. A little pestered input, but probably a little time lost just from printing it out every time.
Yeah. Right away.
Characters instead of 2.
Right away, a couple small differences from the normal Dragon Loop run. So typically, you start off buying a club, and instead of that, you bought a stick. I actually don't know what the name of it is because I never buy it. It's like a bamboo stick or something. 10 gold weapon. And I'm assuming that's probably for the metal manipulations later. It's a lot cheaper, so he's stocking up on a lot of extra herbs. And he also did not grab the Chimera Wing out of the inn, which normally the runners grab. Bamboo pole. Yeah, that could be.
I was not prepared for route deviations this early. And is he not grinding as well?
No, he is. He's just grinding near the, looks like he's grinding near the encounter line.
Ah,
So the runners want, or the runner wants 7 XP to get to level 2 here before moving east. The encounters are kind of mapped out on a grid. Um, there are 5 different encounter slots per zone. Some enemies take up more than one, so some areas you might have a 40% chance of getting into one specific type of enemy. So he's up to 6 XP, one more fight. Can be anything. Here you get blue slimes, red slimes, and Drakis worth 1, 2, 3, respectively. And it's going to be going east towards the town of Myra, or Cole, as people who know DW1 might refer to it. These ghosts are one of the stronger enemies in the second zone, especially with only this bamboo pole. Like he's grinding out a little bit more in the mountains here. Kind of a couple different ways you can approach this early game. You can just try to get to Myra as quickly as possible, or you can try to force level 3 before moving north into the... There's like a dangerous encounter zone nearby. I didn't actually see the exact purchases that Null did because of the route difference. So normally you have 3 torches. Normally you have one from a chest and you buy 2. And then you can actually throw torches in this game to do damage. So you can normally take one of the tough fights around Myra by throwing torches at it. I'm assuming he's still going to do that, but he also bought a ton of herbs, so maybe he's just going to get a little more XP than normal. I'm not sure. But it's 16 XP, I'm pretty sure, from level 2 to level 3.
could be right. 7 and then 23.
Ah, Osasori, giant scorpion. This is the one of the tastier early game enemies. They have pretty good defense, but they give good XP, and he actually has 6 torches.
Oh, get another one. Or a ghost.
But the scorpions give 16 XP. Wonder if you can eat him. Indeed you can! Magidraki here is a little bit scary. Magidraki and magicians in this area can use Gira, Fireball, which does quite a bit of damage, more than their physical, so because he got that on turn 1, he had to heal in between. But he's already level 4. This is very different than what I normally see runners do in this early game segment, so it's kind of interesting. Taking the inn. Okay. So normally here, you either death warp or
Or use the wings, yeah.
or use a wing. But he didn't pick up the wing. He's not save scumming the string seed. So normally you save scum. You get 2 string seeds normally, and you save scum for a total of 5. They can roll 1 to 3 each. But he YOLO'd that one and got a 3, which is the max roll.
Fairy flute.
Buying some more torches. I guess I'll be doing more grinding here. I guess this makes sense though. So the way this route normally goes is that you come here and you get the fairy flute, you get the string seed, you dive into the Rocky Mountain cave and try to use an exploit to guarantee getting the death necklace, which you then sell for money to get a steel sword, which you then use to fight stuff. But because this run is going to be doing the um, metal hunting, he doesn't really care about fighting most of the early game enemies that he normally would. So he's actually looks like he's going to go right to Rimuldar in order to get magic keys, and will be skipping the steel sword because he doesn't need it. So what lets him cut out the Rocky Mountain cave? I guess he's cutting it all together. I don't know. I'll be kind of interested because normally you do get a couple of useful things in there. You get a shield, which I guess you can make up for. Um, but you also get a string seed and an MP seed, which have a pretty big impact on the like kind of your stats for boss fights. So if he skips that cave altogether, he's going to be short a couple seeds. So I'm not sure if the plan is to dive in there later for the seeds or get an extra level to make up for it, or not and just hope things go well.
Yeah, I mean, I guess he could just go for 19. That'd only be what, like 4 metal slimes? 5?
Yeah,
I don't know if it's 3K or 4K at that point per level. The slimes are
it's definitely
775,
4.
right?
It's 4K to get from 17 to 18, I think.
Oh,
So
then all the rest of the levels should be 4K. Except the last one is a little less because it hits 65,235.
he's already level 5 though, which is pretty good. Normally you get 5 in the Rocky Mountain Cave, and you get level 6. This wolf here is like the scariest enemy in this area.
Yeah,
Thankfully, he
especially
ran on the
without
second
any
try.
magic.
Yeah. Normally you get 6 like right outside this town. But the main reason to come here early is for magic keys. So in this game, you can buy keys that let you open locked doors. Um, they cost 16 gold each in this town, or 32 gold each if you buy them um, back at the starting town. But you need to use keys to get to the one in the starting town. So like this is the only place you can get keys to start off with.
Yeah, and keys are way cheaper in this game than in Dragonware 1.
Yep.
Grimildar
So he's gonna
keys are
max out.
53 each there.
Bought all 6 of them. How much are they?
53 gold.
Ah,
In Caitlin, they're 100. I think in Tantagel, they're like 81.
down here there's a life seed that Null's gonna go pick up.
Dragonware 1, if you loot the treasury in Tantagel and then go into the back to buy keys, you just lost like 150 gold.
Whew.
Treasury is only good for like 40 gold. For the 7 to 10 chests that you grind for. 84 in Tantagel, okay.
Gonna max out on herbs again, buy a couple of Chimera wings. I'm assuming he'll go loot the treasury. There are a couple of seeds in the treasury. An agility seed, an MP seed, some money, and another key.
Forgot you could do that to enter the castle. He stepped like right and down and it put him in the castle even though he stepped off the castle.
Yeah. Sometimes wings will place you next to the castle and sometimes on top. And if they place you on top of the castle, you can actually save a tile of movement by doing that half step left, half step or right, and then half step down. It's very odd. Maxing out on keys again. And then he's going to go down here where the Stone of Sunlight is. Also another herb and another life seed. Okay, you skip the herb. It's kind of an optional thing. You can choose to max out by buying at the shop, or you can choose to just go to 5 and pick up the 6th one from the chest there, out of their drawer. And so now that he's got keys, the plan is going to be, I'm assuming he'll use those seeds that he picked up, but probably in combat because using seeds is faster in combat. Normally you use the life seed in a fight while walking here. But yeah, there's the life seed. There's the MP seed. Didn't use the agility one.
Oh,
Got a 4 on the MP seed. So normally in the run you pick up 3 MP seeds that can roll 3 to 5 each. And you want a total of 10 or more MP from those 3 seeds. That'll put you at 96 MP at level 18, which is the normal endgame level. And that gets you 12 casts of the Heal More spell. He's not going to get that with only 2 seeds, so yeah, I'll be interested to see what happens here, what he decides to do. I don't know how this route really works out endgame, so he's selling the agility seed just to buy the chainmail. Yep.
well, he already had the money for that. He's got 180 still.
Yeah.
6 for the end.
And he's going to go up into Garai's tomb. Grab the chests along the way here, I guess. Sword. Torch. I don't know what kind of sword that was. I guess probably a copper sword or something. It was a kanji I didn't recognize.
Yeah. Using a torch.
Yep. So this is Garai's tomb. Again, there's a couple more items that he'll pick up here. Another life seed. I think a defense seed and some money. And the key thing to note about this tomb is that there's a key item at the bottom that's required, the silver harp, which is a required item that they'll be trading in later for the Staff of Rain, I think.
Yep.
I think you trade it for that. But in the
Well,
meantime, it's
I
going to be
usually
key.
forget, but you're supposed
It-
to trade it for the Staff of Rain.
Yeah. Oh, it's a key. It's not a defense seed. In that chest. But
Oh, yeah.
the harp is also going to be used for this specific route. So when you use the harp as an item, it summons a random enemy from the encounter zone that you're in. And there will be some manipulations used to use the harp in metal slime areas.
Yeah, it looks like he's going back up to heal, so he spent almost all his magic just getting this chest.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll probably try to get level 6 beforehand for a little bit of extra resources.
Yeah.
Normally you want level 6 before diving down onto the lower floors. There it is. 6 gets you the sleep spell.
7 sleep.
Oh, 7 sleep, you're right.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Normally you get 6 outside of Rimmeldar and it's 7 before the lower floors. I was off by 1. The lower floors of that dungeon are pretty scary. The first floor is pretty safe. The second floor has some stronger enemies like those wolves that he fought outside of, or ran from, outside of Rimmeldar. And then, oh, he's buying
Shield.
Iron Shield. Makes sense since he
That's
skipped the
yeah.
cave.
Yeah, so that's the shield he would have gotten out of the Rocky Mountain cave if he went in there. He's probably just done buying things. He's probably just gonna use harp hunting until he can fight the Axe Knight. Well, unless he wants a weapon for the Axe Knight. I don't know.
Yeah. I'm not really sure how that's going to turn out.
That fight's kind of scary in this version.
I mean, he can grind all the way up to 17 if he wants to off metals. It might be less scary at 17.
Yeah. Kind of assuming he will get all his levels, 17, maybe even 18. Because then
Yeah,
he'll have to
maybe.
run all the way to Erdrick Sword if he doesn't have another weapon by then.
Yeah. But he could still stop on the way to fight Dragon pretty easily, even with the Copper Sword at that level,
Yeah.
I would think. Um,
The Copper Sword actually is 10 attack power, and Broadsword, I guess, is only 20. So I guess he's not missing as much attack power as I was thinking. And Roto Sword is only 40. So if he attacks with his Copper Sword, he'll be doing like 5 points of damage less than he would be in the Dragon Loop route with the Steel Sword. Assuming he's the same level.
yeah. It'll be interesting to see how exactly this route goes. I've watched runs of harp hunting before, but it's probably been at least 2 years since I've seen a run of this route. So I don't know if it's evolved at all since then. I don't really remember much of it to begin with.
I don't think I've ever watched a harp hunting video. Maybe a video on just how the glitch works, but I've never sat through a full run. So this is interesting to me for sure.
Yeah. I looked into it a couple years ago when I was thinking of running it, but I couldn't find any good English information, and I couldn't even really find any good Japanese information on the manipulations. And I didn't
Yeah.
really feel like figuring it out because I don't like DQ1 enough to invest that much effort.
Yep.
All right, here it is.
Found like no encounters on the last 3 floors.
Yeah.
Like once he hit this encounter zone, he found nothing in this zone.
So he's going to death warp out of here now.
Yep. Not even
Got the
interested
silver.
in level 7. Just metal slime time. He's just waving around his copper sword, wasting an action because his only other option is to run or defend. And if he defends, he'll take half damage. So
Yeah, or attack, but attack has an
yeah,
animation.
yeah, and it'll kill the monster eventually.
I mean, not with no weapon equipped probably, but yeah, eventually. All right, saves and resets. Interesting.
Just message speed.
Did he set message speed 1?
Yes, he changes message speed for sure. I assume that has to do with the manipulation. Maybe, maybe for killing the metal slime.
Well, it's interesting. So typically in DQ1 and 2 SFC, the way the metal slimes work is there's a 50-50% chance to hit them based on whether you're on an odd or even frame. And depending on the weapon that you're using to fight them, your weapon attack animation has an either even or odd number of frames that it takes up. So normally the manipulation is done using message speed 8, where if you miss the enemy, so you this run is done typically using turbo. So you do turbo on X and B for confirm and cancel, and you don't do turbo on A in case you need to menu something specific. And for the metal slimes, you typically use the non-turbo A button. And the idea is that once you select your attack action, you hold the non-turbo A button. If you miss the enemy, you continue to hold the turbo button, or you continue to hold the non-turbo A button, sorry. And if you hit the enemy, While the enemy is flashing in the animation, you briefly let go and repress the button, and you will hit it again the next time, for the metal slimes specifically. You can't normally manipulate whether or not they run away or stay, but you can manipulate whether or not you hit them if they do stay. But that manipulation requires using message speed 8 because it's based on how quickly the text renders in combat. So if he switched to message speed 1, I'm not. I'm assuming he has a similar but different manipulation planned out, but we will see. Um, he's going to run over to the east of Domdora here, and there's an encounter zone that has some metal slimes in it. Maybe the southeast, a little bit, in this forest.
Get beat up there.
And then is going to do a very careful menu. Moving the cursor around in order to manipulate the number of frames that this takes, in order to use the harp on a specific frame. And he even had it mapped out to know how to heal in between. Okay, that metal slime ran away.
Anyway,
Again, there's no way to manipulate. I think there, I say no way. I think there is a full manipulation route for this game. I don't know what it is. I've never seen it. But I do think that there is a DW1 style full manip route. Um, but this route here does not manipulate all outcomes. It only manipulates whether or not the metal slime shows up and whether or not you hit the metal slime. Speaking of DW1 full manips, there's Nest Cardinality in chat.
interesting that he's doing like different manipulations every time, even though the off of a metal slime running away. I'm not sure, I guess, how he would know which of his options to go for. There he just went straight for the harp.
Yeah, I know cursor blinking is part of it. Um, so maybe it has to do, I don't know. I don't know the exact techniques they use. I don't know if they hold like up or down on the D-pad or if they mash. It could be based on the number of like how quickly they mash up or down through the menus. Um, in order how many times the cursor blinks while doing that. I don't know. Um,
Yeah,
but he clearly has this routed out.
he's getting the slimes to show up, so we do know he knows what he's doing. Just it's out of his control whether or not they stay. There he goes again.
I'm not sure. Let me actually look this up. I'm not sure what the exact odds of a metal slime running away are. I think they can have 3 or 4 hit points. I don't think it's always 4. I think it's either 3 or 4, but more likely to be 4 HP and maybe like a 50% chance to run. Um, so killing one is not incredibly likely. Like you can look
Yeah.
at this and say he's getting bad luck by the metal slime running away, but really it's kind of normal.
Yeah, I guess if it's like a 50-50, but he gets 3 chances, then you've only got a 1 in 8 chance to kill it. I was actually thinking the first time I saw the schedule, I saw the estimate was 150, and I was like, oh, I was expecting it to be much lower than the Dragon Loop, but then I realized the Dragon Loop itself is only a 20-minute segment of the run. So it's not like
Yeah.
manipulating these metal slimes can save more time than that.
Well, it can though because he skipped the Rocky Mountain cave.
Yeah,
So
suppose
there's
so.
another 7, 8 minutes. I mean,
Yeah. He only ended up 1 level lower than normal, leaving well no, I guess Garen's Grave you go in there after the golem, don't you? It's just like 2 levels lower than you'd be for the golem walk. It's too bad we don't have audio to listen to the harp every single time.
Looks like the AppSpot page with the battle calculator is not working right now. Do I have another source of info?
Blink. He's
Monster
doing real good
behavior
at getting
pattern.
2 damage on him.
He's gotten 3 a couple times too. Metal slime.
What?
1 of 8
2,
blaze.
3. Run. Do you know the chance of a critical hit in this game? Is it still 1 in 32 or is it 1 in 64?
I don't remember off the top of my head. I think 1 in 32?
I know that's
But
the NES number. Ash says 1 in
so
32. Okay. So we're due for
so
one of those by now.
it looks like these guys have a 3 in 8 chance to run away.
Ah,
4 in 8 to physical, 1 in 8 to Gira, 3 in 8 to run.
all right. They're DQ4 metal slimes. So, yeah, we could be here for 2 hours. Great. That one only had 3 HP.
Yep.
That's the way to do
Yeah.
it.
They have their stat table says they have 4 HP. The way enemies in this game work is that when they spawn with, oh god, is it 75 to 100% or 80 to 100% of their
Oh,
max HP? I don't remember the exact number.
now that you've said 80, it might be 80 in this game.
Yeah,
75 in all the NES games.
let's find Star Chimera, because that one. But then I don't know how it rounds for Metal Slimes,
Yeah.
because they have 8. What about Scorpion? Scorpion accessory as 15. I know
Action
you
metal
can
slime.
fail to kill with 12.
There's a whole village of 1 HP metal slimes out there in this forest. The survivors of all these fights. If only you could pull them back into the fight by playing the harp again. They've all got heal slime buddies hiding off screen now, healing them and sending them back in. He's actually gonna run out of resources and eventually.
Eventually, I mean, he's got a lot of herbs.
He's got 6 herbs and 3 heals left.
What's gonna happen when he gets down to the mountains? Is he gonna go up, or
I don't know.
is that the end of the chain?
Ooh. I don't think I've seen him miss yet, so he seems to know how to hit it turn 1 and not have
Yeah,
to adjust based on the hit or miss.
that must have to do with the message speed 1.
Yeah.
I noticed he used an herb instead of using Hoimi, so I'm wondering if he's keeping the 6 MP for Ruda for return.
Yeah. Is he gonna get there though? I guess that's 13,
13?
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
1.5 hours of slime and nips? No, no, no. The slime and nips. Well, the whole run should be the Dragon Loop run for a good runner. For like one of the good Japanese runners is normally between an hour and a half and an hour and 35 minutes. A typical marathon estimate for Dragon Loop might be like 145. 150, something like that, to account for a death to the Dragon Lord. Um,
He
so this
probably only
is
has to kill like 10 of these, right?
somewhat on par. It depends on how high he goes.
Yeah, true.
Level 17 is at 21,000. So
Yeah, that'd be 30 from 0. Yeah, because I guess he hasn't killed the golem either, and that's worth a lot.
Golem's worth 2,500,
Yeah, usually kill 8
but
dragons too, but he'd probably kill 1 dragon, I'd think.
I'm guessing he'd kill one dragon on the way through.
Yeah,
Um,
probably kill the golem too. It's worth 4 of these metal slimes almost. These guys aren't cooperating. I don't know.
yeah, I don't know. Golem is interesting
Go on the
because
left. He's pointed toward golem.
Golem gives good XP, obviously. There is a defense seed in Melchido,
Yeah,
which is useful. Oh,
he's going for Galen. Yeah, I think he fell out of the zone and went back into it.
I have no idea how he knows where he is after that movement.
Yeah,
Kaishin no Ichigeki.
well, he knows, so
He does.
shouldn't have doubted. Oh, he killed another one that I didn't even notice too. That must be his third at least. I didn't see him hit 9, but it must have just happened.
He was level 8 when he killed that one,
Oh, okay. And I
so he
didn't
got
miss.
2 levels off of it. Normally, you fight the golem in the normal RTA at level 8, I think.
Yeah,
It's 8 or yeah, it's a level 8. I was gonna say it's 8 or 9, but yeah, it's definitely 8. Um, huh? Uh, anyway. So at this point at level 10, I mean, he might be able to kill the golem if he went all the way up there.
yeah, he should be able to. He should have more defense power and HP than normal. Even if he had no healing left, he'd be able to
Also,
loot his way through it.
weaker weapon also. But
Yeah,
yeah, I mean, you could flute your way through it regardless, I guess.
yeah, it just
Question
take
of if it's
forever.
worth it. So the fairy flute item that he has is guaranteed to put the golem to sleep, and the golem is guaranteed to stay asleep for one action. So, depending on turn order, there's another metal slime. Depending on turn order, you can flute attack, basically. And you just have to be careful if you outspeed the golem. If you're worried that you're like at a speed tie or it's a chance. If you outspeed the golem, you normally want to just flute again. But if you go after the golem, then you can kind of freely attack for a turn because he's guaranteed to sleep for one action, and on the action that he wakes up, he won't take an actual action. He'll just wake up. So if you have the fairy flute, the golem is effectively guaranteed, but has 155 hit points. So the more damage you do, the faster that fight will go. If you're only attacking every other turn.
Yeah, so I guess by the time he gets there, he's probably gonna try to have enough agility to always go first rather than always go second.
Yeah. Unfortunately, since App Spot isn't working, I can't tell you what that number is. But
And these slimes are bullying him.
they sure are.
Kind of can't survive the walk to the column. This
Well, I
man with
mean,
6 MP and like 5 herbs left. 4
he's
herbs.
got quite a big section of Metal Slime zone on the way there
Yeah.
still. This basically this whole forest area that's kind of below and to the right of him is Metal Slimes. If he goes down, he'll hit a small area where I don't think there are Metal Slimes, like where the bridge is. But once he's back up a couple tiles, he'll be back into Metal Slime zone. I think there's a few tiles at the bottom of this continent that don't have them.
Nice.
Kaishin no Ichigeki.
Alright. There's 12.
So for a reference, you normally finish the dragon loop. You normally kill 7 dragons, which are worth 950 XP each,
Kaishin.
and finish the dragon loop at about a good runner, let's say 55 minutes, plus or minus a couple. But a really good runner, 55-ish minutes. So at level 15, just hitting 15. So Null is probably 6 metal slimes away from that, and he's at 38 minutes.
Yeah.
So
And he hasn't killed the golem, which is worth like 3.5 metal slimes.
right.
Also 3.5 dragons. Dragons worth about the same as a metal slime.
So 2 or 3 metal slimes plus a golem. It wouldn't surprise me if he goes at least an extra level, because of trying the Axe Knight, because of the lesser weapon he has.
Yeah. He might like kill golem, heal, and come back here for some more slimes before Axe Knight.
Yeah, that would completely make sense. Kill someone while walking back. Just manip the walk back. The Axe Knight in the town of Dumdora that Null walked past somewhat, I'd say recently, but it was probably like 12 minutes ago now or something. Guards Roto's armor, which is the best armor in the game, gives you resistance to breath attacks and stop spell and junk, and also causes you to regenerate hit points 1 per half step. The regeneration isn't really useful with this metal slime grinding, but it's very useful when doing the normal dragon loop run, because the normal dragon loop run, you grind on the marsh cave dragon up to level 15, like I was talking about, and then you do regular enemy grinding to 17-ish. And for
Yeah,
that
I bet
normal
that
enemy
I
grinding,
bet
it
it
makes a big
skips that
difference.
grinding too. I would
Yeah,
imagine he does metal slimes instead of that.
I agree.
He's killed more with critical hits now than with normal damage.
That level 15 to 17 grind normally takes 12 minutes, 13 minutes, something like that.
Yeah.
Let's say 12 minutes. So, and that's 7,000 XP. So 9 metal slimes.
And I don't know how that grind would go with the copper sword. That might make enemies take an extra hit. Might make jerkbirds more of a jerk.
It definitely would, because dragons are iffy whether you kill them in 2 or 3 hits. Jerkbirds are iffy if you kill them in 2 or 3 hits, especially if they heal more.
Yeah.
If they heal more with Copper Sword, you're probably guaranteed 3 hits to kill.
Yeah, because 2 hits would be 10 less damage with the sword. feel like he's not getting bullied as much, so either he's just critting them all or they're running away first turn. Maybe their physical attacks were dealing damage at the start too. That doesn't seem to be
Kaishin
hurting
no
anymore.
Ichigeki.
That's another one.
That feeling when you kill a metal slime and you don't even level up.
Yeah.
He's at that point. The 1 in 32 is catching up. Sure is. Maybe ahead by now, even. It's what, 4 crits on them?
At least.
Yeah, maybe 5. Well, Golem's not going to be a problem.
Nope.
3 HP.
What do you think the chances are of Golem back attacking at level 14?
I don't think back attack is based on level or agility.
No. All right. Well, then we could see it.
Think maybe I'm wrong. I thought it was just a percent, like a 1 in 32 or something. But I might be wrong on that. Did I ever do science on that?
Kishin. Again. All right. Well, I was starting to wonder when those first like 8 to 10 ran away from him, but he's catching up.
No, I guess I never did science on it.
I guess all he really has to do after Golem is get the armor and then go to Charlock, go pick up the rainbow drop or whatever. So he doesn't still have to crawl through to get the silver harp or anything like that. This game is so small.
It really is. Especially after just watching DQ5.
Yeah.
These manipulations are different every time.
Yeah.
He just left it blinking on the silver harp that time.
I don't know if he has just like a gigantic flowchart in front of him or if he's got like a program spitting out what to do next. There's got to be a lot of information involved with how to do this.
Well, it's all frame based, right? So I'm sure he has realistically, I don't know. I'd say 5 variances, right? So every zone is split up into 5 encounters. Every encounter is a 20% chance. So Metal Slime is 1 out of 5. So if you know how many frames an action or an outcome takes based on whether you hit or miss or whatever, um, then you know how many frames you have to adjust the next time. I would
Yeah,
assume. I would assume that they're just rotating, right? Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
I guess that would make sense.
So if there are 5 separate adjustments or 4 separate adjustments he has to get back to that 20%, it does seem like there are maybe a couple more than that. So maybe it's more complicated than I'm making it seem. Because I feel like I've seen him do at least 6 or 7 different adjustments, but I might
Maybe
be
it would
thinking that
be
because of healing.
maybe it would be 10 for hit or miss as well. So 1
Oh
and
yeah.
5 to slime, 1 and 2 to get the hit on him.
Well, no, it should still be 4 adjustments, but um, because The hit or miss will offset. Oh, you mean to start like turn one of the hit?
Yeah,
Okay.
because he's
Yeah,
on
yeah,
message speed 1, so he's just holding the turbo the
yeah.
whole time, but he's always hitting on the first turn.
Cursor movement is definitely part of it, but I think cursor movement is. I think it's just used as like a frame adjustment. I don't think the cursor movement itself like dictates the change in RNG, but I could very well be wrong. I thought the cursor movement was just used as a reference point for the adjustments. So again, I'll remind that um, the normal Dragon Loop run ends at about 55 minutes at level 15, and we're probably one metal slime away, maybe a little bit more, but about one metal slime away at 48 minutes. And we have the free golem fight for 2,500 XP coming up very, very soon.
Yeah. By this level, he's definitely got more attack power than you'd have at level 8 with the steel sword.
Easily, yeah. Yep. Ah, that was a rough one.
Now, the normal route just like it's common in the Japanese RTA categories for the quote unquote normal route to not be the fastest route. So this route allows a manipulation that the normal route bans. Is
Yep.
going on. So this all he's doing here with the silver harp, you're not allowed to do these manipulations in the normal route that farms the dragon boss instead.
Yeah, it's more like a category split than anything else.
Yeah.
Full manipulation versus heart manipulation versus do you allow the dragon loop exploit um, versus do you not allow any of it? Um, the dragon loop exploit, for anyone who's not aware, I've mentioned dragon loop a few times, but there's the marsh cave between roughly between Myra and Rimuldar that has the dragon that's guarding Princess Laura. And that dragon is worth 950 XP. It's a different dragon than the ones that are random encounters. And you can reliably kill it at level 12 um, without any real issue. And so the normal run fights at level 12, and there's an exploit where if you rescue the princess, you actually don't have to rescue the princess in GBC. But if you rescue the princess, you carry her with you, and then you die before bringing her back to the starting town, then um, the whole sequence kind of resets. She gets back to the cave, the dragon also gets back to the cave, and you can run back and kill the dragon again. And so the quote unquote normal run, the most common run you see, is the dragon loop category where you use that exploit to kill the dragon 7 times. Um, there's an optional route in the GBC version. There are some differences in the GBC version due to the engine differences. Um, there's an optional route in GBC to fight the dragon 15 times instead of 7. Um, it's because of the way Brodo's armor works and having less regeneration because of it.
Yeah. And not having to talk to the princess saves you like 5 to 10 seconds per dragon.
Yeah,
She talks for a while and then there's a long jingle.
but that's the dragon loop category that is kind of the most common run and the most common race run in particular. But over the past couple years, over the past year, even really specifically, I've seen more and more no dragon loop runs where they don't allow that either. And it's just kind of More grinding. But yeah, this one is kind of the other end of the spectrum where it allows this manipulation. The even odd frame technique to hunt metals is allowed even in the Dragon Loop category. So the even odd frame technique is what I was referring to earlier when I said you can guarantee hits or misses on metal slimes based on the buttons you push. But it can't get them to show up, it can't get them to stay versus run away. It's only a hit or miss technique. And that technique is normally allowed because it's really just holding a button and occasionally briefly letting go and not at all precise. Kaishin.
Right.
Level 15, still hunting metals.
Yep.
You'll be at least 16 after the golem even fighting now. He's nearing the end of the metal slime zone. From left to right, it's like a little before that bridge, I think. But he's still got some vertical tiles to go to. Maybe it's actually after the bridge. I don't know. It's been a while since I've looked at the encounter map for this game. And this manipulation definitely, like, specifically revolves around knowing that encounter map. There's another one.
Hey, one without a critical hit.
Level 16.
21 MP at 16.
Looks like he's going to go right for the golem now.
Right.
So this is kind of a sketchy spot. The normal route, well, I say that. The normal route kills the golem at level 8. So I don't really know how the stat change affects things. But the normal route kills the golem at level 8, and the golem can do... The heal line is 55, so the golem can do, I guess, up to 54 damage at level 8. So if Null takes a lot of damage, walk into the golem here.
Get back attacked.
I assume he's going to go first basically all the time, and it's not going to
Yeah.
matter.
I would think so.
If not actually all the time. 30 damage. Okay. Well, this is only going to be 3 or 4 more turns. Golem has
Yeah.
155 HP. Okay. So, 89. 120. 148. And dead.
All right. No level off of 2500 XP. He's got to be right up next to the next level now.
Mm-hmm. So he's going to run to this back door here, get an MP seed. 4. So he's gotten 8 MP off of his 2 seeds.
Can you afford the N? Slime's worth
Yeah.
6 gold.
The defense
Uh-oh.
seed in this, and you can grab it from like a tile away. Yeah, here we go. I actually think he might have even gone half a tile farther than he needed to there.
Oh, okay. He's got it. And he's going back to it.
Well, he's got to go get the Roto's token before doing anything
Oh,
else.
yeah.
He's going to want Roto's armor. No game audio. Yeah, unfortunately, this game is being restreamed from RTA in Japan that has Japanese commentary over it. So, um, in order to prevent kind of a commentary overlap, the audio is not really there. It'd be nice if they had a way to split out their audio in a way that could be restreamed before commentary, but that's sort of a unreasonable expectation.
Yeah. Someday Twitch will allow us to broadcast multiple audio channels. Let the viewers
Someday.
balance it themselves. They've got a thing now for partners where you can stream different audio to your live stream versus your mod.
Yep. Yeah, for like music or whatever. I
Yeah.
don't think it's partner only. I think it's everybody,
Oh,
but I could be wrong.
yeah. But that wouldn't help with this situation, of course.
Yeah. So it looks like Null's opting to fight a few things on the way. Now is like a really important situation, especially with the equipment that Null has, to know odds of just odds of everything, right? Like what is your chance to sleep a given enemy? So when you fight the armor knight, you need to know that it's 85% chance to sleep him or a star
Yeah.
chimera. Um, because it really does matter based on the HP you have and the expected damage output you have and their expected HP. Can you defeat them before they kill you, or do you need to land asleep, or is it sort of a toss up based on risk reward? Normally, you come into this section with Roto's armor, which prevents you from taking poison damage in that swamp and also gives you regeneration with every step. But Null does not have Roto's armor yet. Interesting play to cast Sleep on the Magic Chimera. It's another high percent hit, I think 85. But Magic Chimera can also put you to sleep. So if you miss it, it's a good meme. But I guess he's probably not too worried at this level about dying to him.
Yeah, it'd take a few hits to get killed. Though, this guy's gonna. Nope.
Kage no Kishi almost doing work. Kage no Kishi there, the Shadow Knight, is one of the scariest enemies on this walk. This, it, sorry, is easily the scariest enemy on this walk. Uh, at level 8 when you're normally coming through here,
He's
and
not
has a
fighting
very
that
high
metal.
dodge chance.
Oh, well, he's fighting that metal. Looks like he might just be trying to get 17 here. Maybe he's a fight or two away. He's not manipulating anymore.
Yeah, I mean that's the normal endpoint for the grind, right? You normally end
Yeah.
somewhere. So you fight one dragon that gives you 950 XP. Level 17 is at 21,000. So you normally end the grind between 20,100 and 21,000 or so. So that way that dragon kill pushes you to level 17.
Yeah.
Um,
You do normally have the X Knight XP under your belt by that point, though.
yeah, but you do also normally fight random enemies going through the Dragon Lord's castle with the
Yeah.
steel sword. You might still do that with the copper sword, but the castle itself will be a little bit scarier as is.
Let's get in a fight here.
Sleeping him, yep.
Oh,
Dehoimi, definitely a 3-hit fight. Yep. So worth noting that you saw there. So healing outside of combat is faster than healing in combat. Or sorry, the other way around. Healing in combat is faster than healing outside of combat because you don't get the slow text box. And Null knew that he would kill that Star Chimera with one more hit and had a very high probability of outspeeding it. So chose to use the in combat turn to heal before killing it rather than killing it and then healing outside of combat.
Oh, he's at stop spell or heal more. So yeah, this fight's gonna be
Both.
free.
Yep. I don't think I've ever seen this guy fought with stop spell before on like an SFC run.
Yeah, because on if you've seen NES where people put him to sleep or block his spells, he continues to cast sleep on you and fails, and you kind of rely on that. But on SFC, he just stops casting sleep if you stop spell him. So you have to eat his attacks every single turn.
Yeah. Normally you fight Axe Knight at level 15, and it's about a 50-50. Um,
Yeah,
you've
you
got about
kind
100 HP. He's got about 100 HP. He can
yeah,
put you to sleep. He can fail to put you to sleep.
you just trade hits and kind of hope that he casts sleep and fails to hit you with it. So I don't
Yep.
know. Do you win if you just trade back and forth?
Depends. So turn
Depends.
order
Damage
is
rolls.
yeah.
No,
Turn order on the final turn is what that would come down to.
great.
I think you're a little bit more likely to outspeed him than he is to outspeed you, but it's fairly close. If you both attack each other on the normal route, you end up in a situation where you'll die in one hit, he'll die in one hit, and you hope to go first.
Okay. Yeah, now versus where you'd be in a Dragon Loop run. I guess he's got all the X Knight XP and about 1,000 more, maybe 500 more on top of that. So he'll probably hit 18 pretty shortly if he continues fighting stuff. So I'd say if we see him fighting stuff on the way to Erdrick's Sword, then he's planning on going to 19, and if not, he's probably going at 18. But he is missing a couple seeds from skipping the mountain cave.
Yeah, missing one strength seed and one MP seed. And the
Yeah,
MP seed means he's going to be short one heal more, which one heal more by itself doesn't drastically change your success rate,
yeah,
but it does mean that if you have to use heal more getting through the castle, that your success rate starts to decrease much more quickly. So, going at level 18 without the seed might decrease your chance from, I don't know, let's say 80% to 70% or something like that, right? Um, not nothing, but not deal breaking necessarily.
yeah.
So Null's now going to fight the dragon for the 950 XP. We'll see if he brings the princess with him. It's a pretty common meme, especially for marathon runs, as an incentive to try to bring Princess Laura with you to dra- the Dragon Lord. You get a little bit of extra dialogue while staying in the Rimbledar Inn, and a little bit of extra dialogue on the Dragon Lord itself. Just kind of funny.
Yeah, this is the Super Famicom remake of the original Dragon Quest. So not the very original game, but only made like 10 years later. It's 93, right? Is what the layout says. Yeah. So just like the Game Boy Color version, it came on a cartridge with Dragon Quest 1 and 2 on it.
Yep.
Do you lose the princess if you take the Dragon Lord's offer in this version?
I don't know. I don't think I've ever taken the Dragon Lord's offer, even on accident.
Oh, I've done it when I just like royally screw things up.
So every run?
Yeah. Yeah, when I die in the grind after the Dragon Loop, which is again every run, sometimes I'll go down there and grab the magic seed and take his offer to get another heal and then go back.
Ash, I'm
Really,
assuming that that camera is for the next run, which seems to be Shock Troopers Second Squad, any percent normal arcade. So I'm assuming it was for that.
That's interesting that they're set up to capture it while still capturing this game.
Yeah. One funny thing that's easy to do here when you're getting the rainbow drop, there's a delay right here where the priest is just kind of standing there. And it's very easy to habitually hold Turbo X through that dialogue. And if you do that, you end up just like repeatedly examining the ground during that delay sequence. So you got to be careful to use either Turbo B or let go of things during that delay. But yeah, Null is going to be taking one last in Rimuldar, stocking up on herbs, probably a couple torches. Um,
Casting repel before he goes in.
yep.
Side tie girls gonna block his path. You can see what that townsperson did here is that normally townspeople walk an entire tile when they move, but sometimes they'll step half a tile, and she can do that to just block that entire path down there if she goes up and to the right. Actually, just if she goes up, the path will be blocked.
He has enough money for the steel sword.
Oh, hey, nice. Did he get it, or
How?
did he get the axe?
Yeah, no, he got it.
He bought a couple of things on the way from Cantlin to Hawksness to the Axe Knight.
Yeah,
So,
it's true.
Goldman, but
I don't really know what the golem or the axe knight themselves drop for money
yeah.
either.
Well, after Golem, he only had 150 gold, and then he spent 50 of it on the end. Oh, she blocked him, but she got out of his way. But yeah, I don't know what Axe Knight drops. And he grinded about 1,000 XP worth of gold before he got to Axe Knight.
He also killed the dragon.
Yeah, sure.
Well, anyway, he had the 1,500 gold to buy the steel sword, which will allow him to better fight things on the way to Roto Sword.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised then if he's going to 19.
I think he'll try it at 18, honestly.
Could be.
I don't think there's really any loss to doing so. I mean, I I guess it'll depend. If he needs to burn a heal more before getting Roto Sword, he'll probably leave, heal, and come back. Or get 19.
Yeah.
If he doesn't need to burn any heal more before Roto Sword, there's no reason not to just try Dragon Lord at 18 without the seed and see where we are from there. Um, it's about a 10-minute time loss or so, 10 to 15. Um, but we'll say about a 10-minute time loss to wipe to the Dragon Lord. Um, but being one heal more down is really not a large deficit. Being two heal mores down starts to become trouble. Being one, it's fine. Yeah, and as Lavkin says, there's a big MP boost that you gain at level 18. So a refight would be completely fine.
Yeah.
Also, the estimate is 150. Like,
Yeah.
we are a good run, we are like 10 minutes away from the end of the run, you know?
Burn the Axe Knight. Kaishi. No more Axe Knight.
Making up for the DQ5 run.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He does only have one torch. He'll have to buy another torch if he dies.
I'm surprised he bothered, honestly. He has 94 MP, so
Oh,
he
yeah.
doesn't have 96 for heal more, which means he can cast 3 Radiants and not lose a heal more.
Yeah.
Radiant loses 2 MP per cast. Also, going through this dungeon without light isn't really that difficult.
Yeah.
It's slower, but Fighting Akuma no Kishi without Roto Sword isn't that bad. It just means 3 hits instead of 2. You're probably fine. I'd rather fight Akuma no Kishi at 17 rather than fighting Stone Man ever. But I'm guessing that this MP is saving this for Stone Man for Rariho. So the sleep spell has an 85% chance to hit on Stone Man, and Stone Man is
What?
one of the highest damage dealers in this castle, and so we will get 3 sleep spells on them.
He's still on message speed 1. It's like even just looking at it, I guess the timing isn't too different between 1 and 8. So I kind
Yeah.
of wonder just what the science is on where the time saves are for message speed 8 with turbo.
Yeah, I don't know.
But I guess you could be pretty competitive in this category without a turbo controller. Maybe not like, get the world record, but maybe like within 5 minutes of it.
Yeah, I mean, for a Dragon Loop race or something like that, you're certainly within margin of error of RNG.
Yeah.
Burns an herb there. I'll be interested to see if he picks the backup up on this next floor. Is it the next floor? The one after? I think it's this next floor. You can go to the left and there's an extra herb in a chest. He is. Yep.
Kid should probably never watch me play this game. I try so hard to not heal in here. I often get kicked out because of it.
Did not know that herb was there. Yep, it sure is. It's not a super common pickup, but it's good to know about. Kisu, Kiss Dragon, Kaishin no Ichigeki. Kiss Dragon is a pretty tasty fight in here. Roto's armor gives you some resistance to Flame Breath. So if the Kiss Dragon decides to Flame Breath, then they are free. If he decides to Chomp, you can take a lot of damage fighting them.
Floor is so bright with the blue tiles on it.
Yeah. Roto no Tsurugi. So Null's going to be waiting till the next encounter that he wants to fight, and he'll equip it in combat. It's a little bit faster than equipping it in the menu. I realized I think I was off when I was giving XP numbers earlier. I think 21,000 is 18. I think I said earlier that it might have been 17. It's 18 though. Because 20,300 is the XP check here for. I say XP check. 20,300 is the like common medium between do you stay on this floor or do you go to the next floor? It's enough that 2 Darth Dragons will get you to level 18. Burning another herb, okay. It's gonna grind out one more fight. It's possible Null knows exactly what his XP is at. Counting XP in this game is not very difficult, but he might check his XP just to be sure. Yeah, that means 17,000 was level 17.
Okay.
Pretty sure. It's been a while since I've run DQ1. My memory for specific numbers is sort of lacking. There's not a whole lot to know about DQ1. There aren't too many enemies. It's not very difficult to know enemy HP and XP for certain levels, but uh, knowing those exact numbers is actually pretty important
I
because
memorized
there are
a lot
only
of
like
those.
20 enemies to know.
Memorized a lot of those numbers in Dragon Warrior 4 just because there was nothing else to do during the run. They don't really help as much there.
Yeah.
We're using like enemy agility values just so I know whether or not I should be mad that they outran me. Really, all that information does for you.
Sort of the double-edged sword of DQRTA, right? Is that more knowledge means that, you're better equipped to handle whatever situation the game throws at you. I talked about it at the end of DQ5, but um, DQRTA is a lot more of thinking on your feet and adjusting to situations than a lot of other RPG speedruns. But, um, the more you know, you can also run into a situation where you're
Magic Seed.
herb. Okay, magic seed and an herb. You can also run into a situation where that extra knowledge just makes you more mad when things don't go your way.
Yeah.
I guess he won't use the MP seed unless he dies and needs to come back. There's no point in using it now. So the one case where I don't know exact numbers is I don't remember the exact HP of Dragon Lord 1 or 2. Um, but the idea behind Dragon
350
Lord
maybe for
1,
the last second one.
what's that?
350 maybe for the second one. I don't know. I just
I don't know.
follow the flow chart till he's dead or I'm dead.
Yeah. The idea behind Dragon Lord 1 is that he takes about 7 hits to kill. Um, it can be it can be 6 hits if you get very high rolls. A crit counts for like 2.5 ish. Crits can really throw things off. Um, he can cast Heal More, which heals about 2 hits worth of damage. Um, and so there are some slight adjustments in there depending on how things go. Um, so 40 hit points is the heal line. So if you're at or under 40, you heal. On Dragon Lord 1 at level 18. So Null is still 17. He's going to be grinding here. He's going to be using half step to reduce his encounter rate and um, take advantage of Roto's armor for the healing. Yeah, and pray that Dragon Lord 1 does not put you to sleep. That is also something he can do.
Yep.
And then Dragon Lord 2 has a 4-turn cycle. He does a strong flame breath. He does a physical attack, which is also a ton of damage. He does a weak flame breath. And then there's a 50-50 chance to do a weak flame breath or a physical attack. Know that turn 3, he has actually 2 different weak flame breaths, but they're really close to each other. It really doesn't matter. And so,
Surprised he didn't put that
generally,
Snowman to sleep.
yeah, generally, on turn 1, you heal if you are under 101 HP. Turns 2 and 3 at 64 HP, and turn 4 it is also 101 HP in case you get the strong or the physical attack. And that accounts for him going or you healing, then he goes first. Or then he goes second, I mean. And then the next turn he goes first. So he gets 2 attacks in a row, basically is what it's accounting for. And that's completely safe. You can also, if you're iffy on MP, pretty reliably cut that by 4. So 97, 60, 60, 97. I'm guessing that Null's going to play it by ear based on what happens with DL1. So if Null is under 60 MP or so, going into DL2, he might try to cut that by 4 if
There's
he's
the
above
thing.
that. Yep. So this should put
Okay.
him somewhere around 128, 130 HP. Make sure you say no to the Dragon Lord's offer.
Yep.
He offers to split half the world with you.
We've seen how that goes in builders.
1, 2, 3. Heal. 4, 5,
Best.
6. Don't kill. It killed. This is fine. 69 HP is fine. No heals. So this should be free. This won't kill in one turn, and he should have enough MP that it doesn't matter. Good.
Right.
64. 64. It's good. 101. Heal here. Heal with an herb. It's kind of a heal with a spell. You can use herbs to kind of like fudge the numbers a little bit on a couple of those turns. Breath, attack, heal, attack, heal. Oh, he attacked. Yeah, he made a mistake there.
Ooh.
That
Oh.
was it's funny because counting to 4 seems like it should be easy,
Oh,
but
no.
counting to 4 is surprisingly difficult.
How many times have you watched me do that fight, and then at the end of it, you're like, you were off by 1, by the way.
More than once.
Sometimes you just skip a number, and I don't pay any attention to the attacks he's using. I haven't grinded the game enough for that. I just try to count to 4, and sometimes I skip one.
Yeah. It's also
Yeah.
worth noting that you can get back attacked by Dragon Lord 2. So
Yeah.
you can occasionally go into Dragon Lord 2 eating a strong flame breath. And the way that that works is that he'll do his turn 1 attack on the back attack and then his turn 1 attack again on turn 1. So the cycle doesn't change, but he'll do strong flame twice in a row. And you have to really just hope that on your first turn, you outspeed him. Or you were like full HP going into the turn.
Yeah. I'm sure counting
Yeah.
to 4 is even harder if you're actually counting Dragon Lord's HP as you go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I kind of wondered, like, when he attacked, I'm like, oh, is he counting HP? But I don't know. I don't know if he messed up counting to 4 or if he messed up counting HP, but it's unfortunate
Yep.
because he had that free and clear. He had so much MP to spare. But, you know, it happens. This is DQ RTA. It's ruthless. And there is zero margin for error on this fight. You mess up your heal lines, you mess up your counting, and you lose. So,
Yeah. This free fight should be pretty free though. He'll have way more magic walking down there. So unless he gets like put to sleep by something or the Dragon Lord, he's probably fine.
yeah.
I don't know. If Dragon Lord 1 runs out of MP, is he still gonna win? Seen that before.
In SFC?
Can't he run out of magic?
I don't know.
What
So
else other
Noah's
version it would
buying
be? He doesn't have MP on NES.
a torch and refilling to max herbs. Took the inn to get his HP and MP back, and he'll be diving back in. Worth noting that, like, he can probably die again and still cut estimate.
Yeah. He was on a really good pace there. He was gonna finish probably about now.
Yeah. Yeah, he was gonna finish 5, 7, 8 minutes faster than, like, a pretty decent dragon loop time, a good dragon loop time. I've seen a few runners like Popsan get sub 130 dragon loop with no medals, and it's absurdly fast. But between 130 and 135 for top runners is definitely doable, but you're kind of still at the mercy of RNG. 135 to 140 is like a pretty easy range to hit if somebody wanted to learn this game to race it or something like that. Um, that range is pretty reliable if you don't die to something that may or may not be within your control. But this is still like a, I don't know, like a 135 pace, 137 pace maybe, something like that. I didn't see what. Okay, you only have one torch. It's an option here to buy two torches coming into going like going into Dragon Lord's castle, whether or not you refight. Um, it just means that if you wipe, then you won't have to buy another torch. But since you normally need to restock on herbs, if that happens anyway, it's not
Yeah.
really worth it.
He has enough magic again for a heal or a radiant. Or not a heal, a sleep.
Yeah, 2 MP to spare.
He is not interested in sleeping the stoneman.
I wouldn't either if I were gonna run. Fighting is another story, though. Yeah, so pretty standard walk back to the bottom of the castle. Considering how apologetic Gakushin was at the end of DQ5, which was a really good DQ5 run. Like, despite the
Yeah.
death to Mildreth, that was a really good run. Considering how apologetic he was at the end of that, I can only imagine Null's reaction to dying to DL2 like that. I'm sure he's beating himself up, even though it's really fine.
Yeah.
Again, the run is normally done JRTA, so power on through the credits. The credits in this game, like beating Dragon Lord through the end of the game, is really only like 2 minutes or so. Maybe like two
I
and a half.
I think it's like 250 in some seconds.
Maybe. It's pretty quick though.
Yeah. So they
So
may or may not play him.
20 minutes underestimate right now. Like, again, he could die to Dragon Lord again and still meet or beat estimate.
I really wish they would have put one more chest in that treasury. Just complete the ring. Annoys
Maybe
me.
there's a sprite limit.
Maybe.
It's a different shape on NES, right? Like it's more triangular.
Yeah, I think there's 6 chests in there instead of 9. But NES dungeons can't have more than 8 chests in them.
Right, right.
I think Sherlock only has 7. There's 6 in this room in the sword.
All right. Let's see it. 1 hit. 2, 3, heal. Oh, no. Okay, he healed anyway. It's fine. 4,
He didn't want to
2,
turn 4
3,
critical hit.
4, 5. Healing just in case, sure. 3, 4, 5, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yep,
All right.
good. Should be easy peasy. I said that last time. I'm saying it again this time. Just count to 4.
Commentary curse.
What is this, randomizer?
I think that applies to other marathons. Maybe not. All right, I've already
Herb.
lost count.
This is turn 4, so 101, 64, attack, heal here, attack, attack, heal, sure, can herb, attack, heal, attack, attack, heal, attack, attack, 1 or 2 more hits, got him.
There he goes.
Easy peasy.
Probably about a 137 flat if he plays all the credits.
GG to Null. That was a really good run. And like, despite the whole Dragon Lord stuff, which is honestly I find kind of funny more than anything, Null did a fantastic job with those manipulations. With the Harp manips,
Yeah.
knowing exactly how to get a Metal Slime back. I don't think he had a single error, despite pulling that manip all the way from Dumdora, south, around through the bridge, all the way back up around towards Mokido.
Yeah, I didn't notice any fights that were not metal slimes.
Yeah. I don't think there was a single error there. So, throw Dragon Lord out the window. It's DQ1, Dragon Lord 1, or Dragon Lord 2 happens. Dragon Lord 1 and 2 happen. Harp manip, Harp grind was amazing. The strats with the routing with the torches early on for the extra grinding, skipping the rocky cave, manipulating the metal slimes. Impeccable job.
Yep, agreed.
So we're going to let the credits play out here before we see the final time.
Let's see all these clips of these places we didn't go.
Yep. I believe next up on the marathon here is an arcade game. It looks like Shock Troopers Second Squad, any percent normal. So once the credits are done here, feel free to stick around for the next run. I don't know if there's any commentary for that or not, but I'm sure it'll be great, whatever it is. The credits are really cool in this game. They kind of walk you back through the whole run. Everything you just went through. Fighting the Dragon Lord. Some things you didn't go through, as Countess said.
Yep.
Back to the king. And Time.
All right.
1
36:57.
36:57. Yep. I want to remind everyone that I said like a pretty good Dragon Lord time is a 135. 130 if you're like really, really, really good and get pretty lucky. 135 is like a good runner, average run. This wasn't far off of that, with a 10 to 15 minute loss dying to Dragon Lord. Can't overstate how fast this was. It was really good. 15 minutes almost underestimate. 13 minutes underestimate. Excellent run by Null.
Yeah, he must have been estimating for making mistakes in his manipulation or something. Because I doubt he estimated for like 3+ deaths to Dragon Lord or Axe Knight or whatever else.
Yeah, I assume the same. He had a lot of crits during the Metal Slime grind, so I'm assuming at least a few more minutes there were
Yeah.
estimates for the Metal Slimes. And maybe even before then, maybe even like the walk to Myra or the walk through Garai's tomb or something.
Yeah, I wasn't sure what he was gonna do if he didn't get the metal slimes all the way. If he was just gonna sit up there and Caitlyn, and or if like they booted him, he couldn't go to Golem really. He
Yeah.
didn't have a wing to get out of there either. It would have been a death warp and a walk back.
Which probably only would have been a minute or so, but
Yeah,
minute and a half maybe.
especially if he was already 15 with repel.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I don't got a lot else to say about this. I think you need
Yeah.
to go listen to some music or something because it's been 8 hours of just you and me.
Yeah, same. Lots of DQ commentary.
Yeah.
I wish there was a better way to have game music playing during all this. I really do. But yeah, thanks for tuning in, everybody, and keep watching. There's going to be lots more good runs throughout this marathon. This is only the start. So
Yep.
thanks for watching some Dragon Quest, and yeah, stay tuned and watch some more of the event.
Yeah, also add this came up earlier, but there is also a Dragon Quest 3 speed run, which I believe is Thursday night in the marathon, but I think that's the only other Dragon Quest in the marathon. Double check that. No, it's under Dragon Warrior 3. Oh, Wednesday morning, actually. So that's
Ah,
6 a.m. Eastern is when it's scheduled for. And that'll be the total control glitch that they've been doing lately. The all sorts of shenanigans. So if you want to see a shenanigans run, tune in for that. If you're awake at 6 a.m. If not, catch the VOD. But yeah, I think that's it for the two of us, though.
Yep, that's all I got.
All right.
Later, guys. Enjoy.
Yep. See ya.